So welcome you guys. It's just after 6 o'clock and we're just getting started here. This is welcome to the Life Force Showcase, call number 2. We're doing what we can to have an educational series call each week to inform Life Force members of the different things we see as being important. I want to welcome you all. Hello. Hi, Ann. Good to see you. Max, David, Debbie. Glad you guys are all here. I just wanted to read out a little bit of an introduction that I put together. Life Force was established by Kimberly Gogan, who is the guardian of global assets. Kim is the only human who possesses the highest global security clearance, level 64. Kimberly has a solution that is in motion. Many of you may not have the background or history behind what is happening now. So it's important to educate yourself now and see what got us here. We all need to unite and to help and assist in the global restoration of the planet. The Life Force Showcase educational series will be held weekly on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please join us weekly as we educate you and connect. Please be aware that all information discussed on these calls is only the opinion of those on the call. I have full disclaimers that will be posted on the video recalls or replays, and these replays will be at present done on YouTube, and the YouTube links will be posted on Life Force app. So with that, I'd like to get the call started. I appreciate you guys all for showing up. I sort of consider myself to be a water expert. Water is one of the things that's really helped me. It's really saved my life and related to health issues in the last 10 or 11 years of my life. About 10 and a half years ago, I sustained a very devastating injury and my kidneys shut down. I also had been a very heavy drinker at the time. And I found myself at the end of this health issue very, very near death. And it turned out I was in a really bad position because of I had a lack of hydration in my body. I was very dehydrated. And I was very lucky that I got introduced to structured water and started drinking that. I noticed a lot of improvements immediately once I started drinking structured water. So I do know about structured water, and that's something I would like to talk about today. I also wanted to talk a little bit about hydration in regard to your skin. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, and it is very important to try to bathe in good, clean water if you can from time to time, really weekly or more often is recommended. For me, that was a real big jump start in me rehydrating my body years ago after my accident. And I am very fortunate that I have a hot spring very close to me where I live here in Oregon. So hot springs, baths, hot tubs are very good, but the problem is, of course, there are a lot of chemicals that are in these different waters, and I usually choose, if I have the ability, to choose a natural water source of spring water. And so if you have that available, great, but I'm going to be getting into the structured water and basically what it is. So, and then what I'll do is we should have a couple people hopefully joining in on the call who are going to share about water, and then we can also take some questions at the end. But I'll just start out telling you a little bit about what I know about water. So water happens to be one of the most incredible substances on the planet. It is it actually has the capacity to hold more memory than most anybody can comprehend. It was Cambridge University in England. They did a study, and they were able to put a 1 million book library in 2.3 grams of water, which is about enough water to sort of fit in your cup of your hand, okay? So as much water can fit in the cup of your hand, they were able to put a 1 million book library where every word could be read from 1 million books, and they could put that in to the water, and they could extract every bit of information out of it. If you think of your cell phone, you'll know there's a really small little silicone chip in there, and that chip is basically a microcomputer. So the thing is that water carries memory, which means wherever this water has been, it has a signature or a memory of where it's been. It also is, in effect, it is able to take intention. And I strongly suggest you guys, if you can go and look up Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O. If you're not already familiar with his work, Dr. Emoto did a variety of studies where he actually showed that if you pray on water, that you create a very beautiful geographic molecular structure which looks like a snowflake. If you say really nice things to water, like please and thank you and I love you, but if you say mean things to water, like I hate you, I'm angry, and things like that, the water actually changes molecularly, and this can be viewed under a microscope. I was planning to share some pictures, but I'm having a little issues with sharing on this video today. So I just urge you guys, take a look at Dr. Emoto's work. It's one of the ways that I was able to familiarize myself with the magic of water, with all of the incredibleness of water. So moving right along. Yes, hi Max, you had a question?
Hi, I just wanted to piggyback on that. What he did is he froze the water and then he looked at it under a microscope, and
Yes.
and the water responds to vibration. So he also played it like really sort of acid rock or classical music, and the crystals would reflect, basically, whether it's words or music or anything, they would take a different shape when it was a negative energy and a very beautiful shape when it was a positive energy. And his book has beautiful pictures. I have it. It has beautiful pictures, and it's totally worth buying and looking at. And I think it's E-M-O-T-O, right? In case people want to find it.
Yes.
Is that the right
Yes,
spelling?
correct. E-M-O-T-O, yes. Yes, thank you for sharing, Max. Yeah, that was a little bit of information that is very helpful. So, as far as water goes, it carries memory. So let's use this as an example. I have, through my study, found that roughly 80% of the plastic bottled water, the generic plastic bottled water that's sold in the United States, comes out of the Los Angeles city water supply. The water in the LA County water supply has generally been on average through that system 23 times. It ends up having approximately 500 very small microcontaminants in it. The government only tests for 3 different, basically for commercial use, they only test for 3 different toxins or poisons, let's just say, in the water, but there's over 500 and they're very small. They're really at a very small atomic molecular level, but we have things like microplastics, pharmaceuticals, residues of things like Roundup and things like that are actually in the water. So how do you protect yourself from those things if you come in contact with this water? If you guys were listening to Kimberly Gogan's call last Sunday, she mentioned that it's come to her attention that they're heavily fluoridating the water worldwide, which in effect is dumbing down the people. It's slowing the brain and the thought process. So we all would like to have a way where we can eliminate that fluoride if we're coming in contact with it through water, eliminating it from attaching to our cells and staying in our bodies. That is what structured water does. The structured water devices that I use and that I've been using for the last 8 years are known as natural action. I've been very blessed because I've actually met the inventor, the gentleman who invented the structuring device. His name is Clayton Nolte, ClaytonNolte.com is his website if you'd like to take a look. Very incredible information. The man took 15 years to design this device. It's designed scientifically, and it has a flow pattern in it. It's basically what it is. I should have brought one with me. Excuse me for not bringing it today, but it's basically like a funnel, and you pour water in the top of it, and there's a chamber which has a geographic shape within it. When the water passes through it, it turns the water in two directions, to the left and to the right. When the water comes down to the bottom of the device, the water collides at a very high rate of speed. They've tried to measure the speed. They can't. They say it's near light speed, possibly, that these molecules are traveling when they hit the bottom of this device. So what happens is basically like a micro explosion of water molecules. And what that does is there's many different things that happen. The molecules are burst apart so that they become very, very easy to hydrate you. There are nano measurements known as dynes, and the average cell opening, a single cell in your body has an opening that is generally no more than 54 dynes in measurement. The structuring that I just mentioned, when you put water through it, you end up with water that is generally 52 dynes or less, which means each water molecule can feed directly into the cell. What does that really mean? Well, you get hydrated a lot faster. You don't have to drink as much water. Those are some of the things that happen. Some of the real true magic, though, is in the molecular structure. The molecular structure of the water is structured in such a way that it creates a protective barrier or film. And what it does is it separates out any of the toxins. So for instance, if your water, you got it from a well or the city water supply, and it had barium and strontium and aluminum and a few different other things in it, those would not be filtered out of this device. They would still be there. But the thing is that the molecular structure of the water molecule atoms would actually protect you from absorbing those toxins. So when you drink the water, you would drink, all the hydration molecules would go into your cells, and any of the toxins or things that were not good for you would remain outside and would not hydrate your cells, and they would flow through your body, and you would basically pee them out. So that is basically, in a nutshell, what the structuring does. With the particular device, the natural action structuring device that I actually use. These devices are pretty inexpensive. They're under $300. They're warranted for 10 years. There's no moving parts. They don't break. They're very well built and designed and respected. So those are the ones I use. There are many different types of structuring, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody drops in on the call with some of that information. I did have a couple people who tell me that we're going to drop in with that. But in the meantime, I'll just focus on my device. Now, what's beautiful about this device is you can actually breathe through it too. So it doesn't just structure water, it structures air, and it actually structures it can structure your whole body. An example is a firefighter here locally in Oregon. Someone I know sold this firefighter a device. He was out on the fire lines in the middle of the forest, very, very heavily smoked conditions. This is about 2 years ago. We had some big fires. And this gentleman, they all had major smoke inhalation, and they'd been out on the fire lines for 4 or 5 days. And they really needed to get off of the fire lines, but they were unable to be extracted, so they had to stay there in the smoke. Well, the one firefighter who had this structure device was able to breathe through it and share it with 300 other firefighters, and they were all able to stay out for another week in the fire lines because the device had cleared their lungs of a lot of the toxins. So the device is more than just a water structuring device, it also structures air. Now, I live in a small community, and I have 3 of these devices installed in about a 4-acre area. Each device that I have installed, it covers a 1,000-foot radius of energetic structure. So the actual structuring, when the device is in use, or that it actually is measurable within 1,000 feet of wherever it is. So in my particular instance, I have 3,000 feet of a frequency, a structured frequency that is also vibrating throughout this community that I live in. And I can tell you that it may sound a little outlandish, but it does work. It's a very delicate energy, but I'm very sensitive to energy, and I can personally tell and feel the benefits. So the particular device, the natural action structuring device, is the device I use. I've looked at many, many other devices. I've seen a lot of them. I've used them. I've drank water from them. The reason I like the device I'm speaking of so much is because it's inexpensive. It does not have any. It does not have any moving parts. It's got a 10-year warranty, and it structures both water and air. And you can actually even get an adapter and make it into a super shower. And honestly, that is one of the most magical pieces of this, of these devices, is a shower. With all of the electronic energy that's around us, depending on where you live, it really clears all the electrical energy from you when you have a water with structure in it, as opposed to just a regular water supply. So with that, I will just mention a couple other devices, and then I'm going to maybe see if anyone has any questions. The one other device that I'm very familiar with is an electric device. It costs around $3,500. It's made by a man named John Ellis. JohnEllis.com, just like it sounds. You can take a look, and we'll look that up if you'd like. John Ellis was like a nuclear engineer, and he was specifically in charge of water systems in I believe it was Los Alamos, New Mexico. And when he found that when he worked with water in certain ways and he did certain things to it, it became magical. There was magical properties, such as the water that he created would actually neutralize atomic energy. He could actually get radiation to drop in its degree, in its energetic field, with just water that he structured. So the device that he sells, you can buy, and it's got a lot of different benefits. It really purifies and cleanses and structures the water. There's a lot of, you can use it for cleaning. This is one of the things too. People would go, really, you can clean with water and not use any chemicals? Yes, that's true. And they do that in a lot of hospitals in Japan with similar devices to John Ellis's machine. But the only thing about that device is I am doing my best to connect with Mother Nature, with the earth. So for me, I like more of an organic approach. And what I found with the different water devices is that I can actually pick up the electrical energy in the water when I drink water from an electrical structuring device. The device that I use is just purely, it's a gravity feed. And so there is no power basically Mother Nature is doing the structuring, as opposed to a machine, a stainless steel machine, which is what John Ellis's machine is. So there are many other types of water structuring out there, but for the purpose of what Kimberly Ann Gogan spoke about, I just would like to say, you can protect yourself very inexpensively from a lot of the toxins and the things that you come in contact with. And especially if, as we all know, we believe the cabal, the people that are trying to plan the New World Order are trying to toxify us as much as they can. And the word is that there's much higher levels of fluoride in the water system now than there have ever been on the planet. So if you are interested in anything I'm talking about, you can reach out to me directly. I am on LifeForce, and this video will also be posted on YouTube, and I am also available. You can message me there as well. So right now, I'm going to open it up to some questions. If anybody had any questions, please go ahead and raise your hand, or just speak up and let us know what you have. Yes, Max.
I just wanted, because you were going to do this call, I just started playing around looking stuff up, and I found a very interesting website that I just thought I'd throw out there. It's called primarywaterinstitute.org. I sent that to you, David. And that talks about living water and how much of it, like there's a super giant abundance of it, under the ground. And they even talk about a big water reservoir in the middle of the earth. and how that water is like what you're talking about. It's structured, it's pure, and you can even drink it without doing anything to it. And they
Mhm.
talk about the difference between the water, that comes to us through the pipes and is cleaned and all that. And so it's a really interesting just website to look at in terms of water, and also in terms of, in Ashland here, I'm seeing signs about water mitigation, and we all know this is a cabal thing too, to pretend that there's not enough food and not enough water. And so this website shows you just how much water is so abundant on the planet, it's ridiculous. And so it counteracts a lot of those narratives. And I just think for anyone who's interested in this topic, it might be a really interesting website to go check out. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, Jace, welcome to the call. We're just discussing some things and glad you could make it. And if you have any questions, just, please, you can raise your hand or take yourself off mute. Is there anyone else? David Adams, please go ahead. Yes, what would you like to ask?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that Oregon does not fluoridate, or is that just what we're supposed to believe and actually do? Do you know?
I heard that too, but not sure.
Well,
do you know, David?
How about this? Anything is possible. We've been lied to so much. I personally, I know the water system that's here in my town, in Southern Oregon, is horrible. We've done complete panels and screens, and the things that are in there are so beyond borderline toxic. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're right next to the Rogue River, which washes down all kinds of stuff. Now, the Rogue River generally is pretty clean, but still, there's just still a lot of things that get dumped in the river, upriver, that end up in the water supply. As far as the fluoride, I personally believe whoever is taking the money from the cabal will do whatever they need to do. I see levels of control here that would tell me most likely they're probably doing something to the water, and I would imagine the fluoride program is probably somewhere incorporated in it. It'd be interesting to go do some research, and I know where the water plant is. Maybe I can go talk to the guy, see what he says. That's maybe a good idea.
I remember it came up on the road maybe 10 years ago, a while back, to fluoridate the water. We voted down, which I was impressed that people said no. Questionable.
Yeah, well,
I guess we don't know the answer to that. One piece of evidence would be how many people are wearing masks. That would show some level of fluoridation in Oregon.
It says that in Oregon, let me see, over half of the U.S. population live in communities that provide fluoridated water. However, in Oregon, only about 21.9% of the population receives the benefit of fluoridated water. The Healthy People 2020 goal is 79.6%. So maybe there's a chance to do something about it.
Yeah,
and that's under Oregon.
Thanks. That is a great. Thank you for looking that up, Debbie, and letting us know. Yeah, that was sort of what I was thinking, because I know a lot of people are on wells. Oregon is very rural, and the towns and cities have the water supplies, and obviously yes, they're doing that there, according to what you just read. So if they're doubling it in places like Portland, maybe we can understand why people are going insane up there on some level. I don't know. But what I do suggest is, if you can afford it, find the best spring water that you can find in your region, and if you can get it delivered, and start there, and then structure. If you can get a structuring device, like I said, I'll have all the links up on this video. then the combination is, based on what I know, is the easiest and least expensive way to protect yourself, because we are 70+% water, and we need water constantly. And that's what people really should look at, is that, a lot of Americans, we drink, soft drinks and juices and coffee and all these other things. It's not water. We actually, we fully hydrate the best with plain water. And that might be hard for some, because people don't generally like to drink water. At least a lot of people I talk to. But that was me a few years ago, and I just learned to. I knew that it was very important, and I made the changes, and now it's part of my daily routine, where I always have a bottle of water with me, and I'm always drinking really good quality water. And that's the thing. The water that I drink comes from Mount Shasta. It's actually called Mount Shasta Spring Water, and I get it delivered here, and then I structure it. And that water tastes so fantastic. I've tried, you could match it up against Fiji water or any of the high-end bottled waters, and it generally, in my opinion, it tastes better. So, the taste is one thing, and the effects are another. Once you get fully hydrated, you think different. A lot of your body functions work better. I've had actual medical doctors tell me that 80% of all illnesses begin with dehydration. So please be aware of that. That is something that the AMA doctors are not generally going to tell you, because they're told not to. But if they were to tell people that, yeah, maybe you should lay off some of those medications because they're dehydrating you, and you should, do a regimen of baths and drinking quality water, people would naturally just start getting better. And that's actually what happened to me, because I had internal organ damage and it did not look good. I was actually possibly looking at getting transplants. I was on a list, but over a couple, 2-3 years, all of my internal organs improved because I was rehydrating them. I guess for us that are a little bit older, getting older, just understand one of the reasons why people die is basically their organs turn into beef jerky, and they stop pushing fluids. And so that just is something that happens. And so the more you keep your organs hydrated, and the better, in theory, is the better life you're going to live, the longer the life you're going to live. Also, you're going to be able to automatically correct a lot of health issues because of just the fact that you're dehydrated. So, water is a really incredible subject. I really wish that, this is the type of thing for anyone here who's looking at life force education that we need to really incorporate into the schools. We need to incorporate into any level of learning, because as far as health goes, the number one thing you can do for your health is start drinking water, and drinking a higher quality water, and making sure that, that you're protected from whatever the water source is. And since we don't know that, I don't know. If I go to a hotel or I go somewhere and I didn't bring my water with me, if I have my structuring device, I can structure right there on the spot. And at least I know the water might taste that great. It might be contaminated, but I know that all those toxins are not building up in my body, attaching to my cells, being inserted in my cells. I will tell you, there's some other really good benefits besides just humans. Animals love structured water. I've done many, many tests where I've had 5 bowls of water. 4 of them were non-structured, 1 was structured, and I've had dogs or cats come in and they go 9 times out of 10 straight to the structured water. So animals generally can tell the benefit of the structured water. In addition to that, plants, as far as gardening, here we go with another educational series here with Life Force. On Kim's call, we have Susanna from Denmark, who's leading the charge with trying to get the food supplies up and running, because we may be looking at food shortages according to the information we're getting. So why not try to have the best food production? There's a lot of talk about soil with what Kim was putting out with the individuals in Life Force, but they didn't really mention the water. If you structure water and you use the same water that's structured from the same source, and you compare, on average, this is my own experience over about the last 10 years, you get a minimum of a 10 to 15% more crop, more fruit, more vegetable, whatever you're growing, and you get a higher quality product. We have done grows side by side where we use the same water, but we use one bed was structured, the other was not, and the difference in the vegetables that were grown was phenomenal. There's also been other things like medicinal cannabis and hemp in our region that's grown, and that a lot of the individuals are using structured water because they get a much higher quality medicinal plant from that. So again, structured water affects everything that's living: plants, animals, people, babies, you know. So that's why I'm such a proponent of it, because it's really a simple thing, and that's part of I think the trick that the cabal has played on us. They have you know, they have basically tried to convince us that you need something very complicated as opposed to something simple. Water is the simplest thing you can do for you or your family or your pet or your garden, your property's health. I will also tell you another thing. You can structure water and you can use it to clear, you can clear energetic fields with it. I have a little spray bottle that I use, and you know, I got my water in it and I'll spray it. And you know, sometimes when there's just something, especially nowadays when I get checked by the mask patrol or whoever these people are, sometimes you can get in a little mini confrontation, or you can just, you know, there's just bad negative energy that surrounds you, and like I can get stuck in that energetic field. But when I have my water with me and I spray, literally it's like I can disconnect from that field of negativity. So again, a lot of different ways you can use it. A lot of it's up to you how you want to. There's way more advanced methods too of structuring. There's people out there that make $20,000 structuring devices that are like, you know, they weigh several hundred pounds and they have like 20 different components on them. I've tried water from those. They work quite well. There's people that simply put very high, what are they, energetic crystals, like actually rock quartz crystals that are shaped into various geometric patterns. And honestly, one of the best places I ever drank water from at the tap and had a bath was in Ashland. And the gentleman had a $3,000 crystal in the line of his water. And for whatever reason, that structured the water at a level that was just phenomenal. So, you know, again, there's many methods, many different individuals out there, you know, offering different types of structuring devices. So really it's up to you. You know, I would urge you guys, if you're interested, go out and look at some different things and see what, you know, hits you as being maybe good for you. I just know for me, I'm trying to get away from electrical energy. I spend too much time online. So for me, I don't really want to structure with electricity. I'd rather structure with a natural gravity flow method. So anyway, I can keep going, but do we have any questions? How about you, Ann? It's good to see you. I haven't really talked to you in a while. Do you happen to have any questions, or you want to say anything? See, I'm going to try and unmute you. Well, I guess I can't unmute you for some reason. So how about you, Jace? I see you're on the line. I've sort of chatted with you a little bit here and there online. Just would you like to unmute and say hello? Okay, well, he's not unmuting either. So it looks like there's just a few of us. Debbie, did you have anything else to add? It sounds like you're doing a little research there while I'm talking.
Am I muted here?
No, you're on.
I did have a question, David. You know at ThinkFest you brought that little white unit. Was it blue or white? But it was not very long, and that's the one you used for a demo.
Right.
I couldn't find that on the site because I wanted to order that very one.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure I get you the right link. I know there were, I'll put it to you this way, because of COVID, there were a lot of supply issues. You know, factories and things were not able to produce the supplies. So they did have a supply line issues, which according to what I've got right now are back, they're back up and stocked. So I'll make sure we get you the right link for that. But yes, that is the device. That is it's called a portable. It's a portable water structuring device. And if I can, you know, I could try to, my intention was to share some pictures on here, but for whatever reason, that function's not working on Zoom right now. But it's basically just a very small device. It's only, I don't know, it's like a cylinder, and it has a little, like a funnel at the top, and you can pour water into it, and it has a little spout. And that's where the water goes in 2 directions, and then it collides at the bottom, which does the structuring, and then the water just pours right out. Now that is a great device because you can use it, it's basically for anything. You can use it to structure your water, you can structure air. Like me, I have mine right now sitting in my house on a fan. So I've got a little fan that sits up straight up, real small fan, and I put the device on top of it, and then all of the air that comes out is all structured. I've noticed for me that is very beneficial. I get it's a very pleasant feeling having structured air around you. But the device can also, there's also an adapter you can get for the portable, and you can attach it to a shower. And so I do that when I go on a lot of cruises. At least, who knows, I may never go on a cruise again, but I used to go on a lot of cruises, and you know, I would bring my device and I can attach it to the shower so that I have structured water shower wherever I go. So it's very versatile. And like I say, there's no moving parts, so you can drop them generally reasonably. They won't break. They're warranted. The company is proven. And so, you know, I wouldn't suggest or recommend anything unless I had tried it. And that's one of the reasons I am just trying to get this information out to you guys about these devices. I'm sorry that we don't have more people to show up from Living Water with Life Force. I know there's a lot of things going on, such as the presidential debates today and some other things, but I'm really glad that you guys have all joined us today, and I'm happy to take questions from anyone who would like to ask, or if anyone would like to bring up anything they know about water and discuss it, please go right ahead.
I guess another question. I drink a liter of water a day. It's filtered. I think it needs to be more. What do you think is like the good average amount of water per day? I've heard a gallon, and I'm thinking, well, that's that's a lot. That's a challenge.
Based on the best information I've gotten that I seem to have connected with, because I've tried a lot of different things, more water, less water, the basic guideline for the best intake of water is 3 to 4 ounces per hour. You should be taking sips every 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. So if you can like have water around all the time and you're working and you just have it there and it becomes a habit where you're, you know, every about 20 or 30 minutes, you're taking a couple of ounce or 2 ounce sips, and you do that all day long, that is the best way for you to actually intake. Another thing that I found that's very effective is always take a tiny sip of water before you go to bed. And the first thing you do when you wake up and get out of bed is take a sip of water. That tends to assist in the sleep process, and it also tends to assist in the wake up process and getting the body moving. So those are a couple little tricks of the trade that people have spoken of over time. Let's see. I will tell you about another story. You know, yeah, Max, go right ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, you know, in the meantime, before, you know, getting a structured water device, which I myself want to get, there's also what we can do is kind of what the Japanese scientist Emoto did, which is You know, when I take a shower, I talk to the water. So I say, thank you, water, for healing me and cleansing me. And, you know, we have what we're mostly made of, water. So we can also just constantly have positive affirmations and, you know, talk to any kind of water right before we drink a glass of water, because it will change the structure of it to send it some love. So that's something that we can do every single time, just easy, you know, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, when I fill up my containers, I always bless.
Yeah.
Send them love and light and thank them for their healing and cleansing and nourishing properties and all that good stuff. So and there's a thing while you bless your food at dinner time. There's energy into that. So it's kind of same principle, I believe.
Yep.
Excellent. Yes, thank you for that. That is a little piece that I definitely know is very, very important. Yes, as I said, it's just like your cell phone. Let's say you get a brand new cell phone. It has nothing in it. Doesn't have anybody's phone number, doesn't have any apps, doesn't have anything in it, your favorite web pages, YouTube, whatever it is. So you've got to go in there and program that phone. Well, that's basically what you're doing with a glass of water, is you're taking that, when you put it in your body, it's doing a lot of different things. It's taking away some of the old, but if you put in water that has a high vibration and a good message in it, it actually will affect you in the way that you intend. And that's what I found as well, just like what Max was saying. Now, the ancients have been working with structured water for a very long time. Kim has mentioned that there's water known as H90. And she mentioned a trip that she took with, I believe, Ava up into some mountains where they were chased. But she did say that at that location, they were able to find and obtain the H90 water, which apparently is like it reverse ages you. In effect, it would be what I think Ponce de Leon, that story was about, which is the, finding the fountain of youth. That's true. And I guess I always knew that in some way, that there had to be something like that on the planet, but it's true. It does exist. And Kimberly has spoken of it. So these are some of the positive things we can look forward to as Kim does her work, and all these changes that we know about are put into motion. Hopefully, we can see that coming. But I did talk to, I know there's a lot of people growing all kinds of things in where I live. We have a beautiful river valley. And so I know a lot of farmers. I've talked to them about a lot of different things. But I went to this one farm where there was incredible produce, organic, just absolutely some of the most beautiful vegetables I had ever seen. And I started talking to the guy about his process. And we got into a talk about structured water. And what he was doing was he was mixing his water barrels by hand with an oar every day. And as I recall, he was stirring the water in the barrels with this oar somewhere between 60 and 100 times. And this was, he said, was an ancient practice that he had learned through the natives that had been passed down, and something they used to do, because that's really what living water is. And that's really, we have a group under Life Force known as Living Water. So I thought I would just mention what living water is, and I'll read a little bit of something to you guys. Living water is energized to be alive. Water must move in spirals. Vortexing water draws in higher energies from the quantum field. Tap or bottled water is not living water, it is lifeless water. Nature's water moves in spirals as groundwater in a stream, in our bodies, in trees, and other plants. A good carbon water filter removes most physical pollutants, but only a vortex will remove energy pollutants. The vortex restructures the water more effectively if it alternates between left and right, yin and yang, spiraling directions. Distilling, reversed osmosis, ionization, remineralization do not create living water or enhance its energetic qualities. Living water is nourishing. It enhances our energy and health and is easier on the body, which does not have to work so hard to convert lifeless into living water. So this goes again back to what I have been saying about this, the natural action structured water device. It is purely natural and it is purely in accordance to exactly what this living water description outlines. So that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of different structuring. A lot of these new machines are distilling machines, and what distilling basically does is it makes the water very pure, but so pure that what happens is once it detoxifies your body, it will actually go in and attack your weakest organ, is what has been found with distilled water. So distilled water can be very beneficial, but only for short periods of time. But I have friends who've spent $3,000 and $4,000 on machines called Kangen water devices. And again, there are very good uses for this water, but not necessarily drinking. The Kangen water machine is from Japan, and that's the one that is used to make water that they use to clean hospitals without any detergents, any kind of cleaning solution. They literally just clean the hospitals with this water. It is so pure that it literally kills anything on contact. So that's the idea. When you get something that pure inside of you, it can be good for a short period, but not prolonged. And we've actually, in my day, I've seen people who've told me their stories about drinking distilled water for over 3 months to 6 months, and how ill they got, because it will rob your body of natural minerals. So, there is a lot to water. There's some things to look out for. I just wouldn't go with the easiest. This is one of the reasons why I've stuck with the natural action device, because I would have bought many of these $1,000 devices if I really thought it would be beneficial. But when I really did my research, I found that, back to what I just read to you, that simple vortexing in a natural process is exactly what you're replicating. Water that's like, let's say, flowing in a river right now or is in the ocean is naturally structured. It's been flowing and moving and pushing and pulling. And so it's, like I said, those molecules I described earlier are all sort of separated, and they're all in a natural state. But when we pump water out of the ground and we compress it and we put it under pressure so that it flows out of a faucet, most people would never think that it's sort of like a sponge. Most people would never think that you can compress water. Well, in truth, the water stays the same size, but when you put it under pressure, it pressurizes the molecules, and the molecules form into clusters. And so those clusters, what I was talking about earlier, is when those clusters, let's say they try to go into your cell and they're a big cluster of water molecules, they can only go into this small hole in your cell that's 54 dynes. Well, if you've got 20 molecules stuck together, when it hits your cell, maybe 1 or 2 molecules might go into it, and the rest will just fall away, and you'll go to the bathroom and pee it out. You'll get very little hydration in general from that type of reality. Well, if you take that same water that, let's say, was in your tap, and you structure it, you now have burst apart all the molecules. They're all separate. They all have been reformulated to protect you from the any bad substances that might attach to your body. And that's basically what happens in that whole process. So it is simple. The problem is we are not taught right. And this is one of the reasons for this educational series. We have been taught wrong. People need to know what the right things are, because there's a lot of really simple, awesome things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money, that you can totally increase and improve your health. For instance, our first Life Force call, and I urge anybody who's reviewing this video, go back and take a look at our first Life Force showcase call on the biofeedback machine, because we've had several individuals using a biofeedback machine that's not very well known. It's the one that Kim was talking about, and many of us here have had very phenomenal results from that. And that particular machine in a session is not that expensive. It's nowhere near what, let's say, the medical people would charge you for anything that's even close. So, we're here at the showcase. We're all about bringing you the stuff that works, that's inexpensive, that's easy to use, that you could put to work for yourself right away, and try to counter all of these attacks that the cabal and the New World Order are launching on humanity. You know, there's just a lot of them, and we know a lot of them. A lot of us know what they are, and some of us don't. But we have very high levels of metals in our system. We need water to flush that out. We can't continue to take in toxic water because it's just going to build up back up the toxins within us. So, you know, being the fact that we're 70+% water, water is one of the most important factors in human health. We've got to keep that water moving through our body. You know, we're getting rid of it, we're sweating it out, we're peeing it out. You know, so we've got to constantly be replenishing it. And the key is, what are you replenishing it with? Highly fluoridated water? Not a good idea. So seek out the natural sources of water, the springs, and if you have a well, it is a good idea to try to, you know, get that tested, make sure there's no issues with it. And as I said, the structuring, like the showers, are phenomenal. Misting with structured water is phenomenal. There's just a lot of different things that I personally have experienced with structured water, and I'm a major proponent for it. I believe that this is going to be part of the norm that we're going to see in the next few years, because people basically have been lied to. I mean, Nestle now owns like a controlling interest in most of the water sources in the world, and we've got to take that back, because what they're doing is they're basically centralizing the control of water. And they're trying to tell us that there's less and less, when in fact, there's plenty of water. They're just trying to control it. So we need to not just give us the junk water they're giving us through these city water systems and these inadequate water sources, and we need to demand that we get the quality water that's within this planet. So if you guys have, I really appreciate you guys all joining in on the call. If there's any other questions, I'll take them. We've been running for about an hour, and I will be posting all kinds of stuff here on the site. But Max, you had a question?
Not really a question, just wanted to say, you know, water is life. Pretty much everything that's alive has water. Some people say that water is source in physical form. But of course, the cabal, being a death cult, they've done everything they can to kill the water, to make it dead, you know. And the fact that you've just mentioned that Nestle, you know, has taken over so much control, it's astonishing to me. You know, water is a resource that's on this planet. So what's next? Somebody's going to bottle air and then sell it back to us? I mean, it's just so ridiculous that anyone can think they own water. It's ours. It's from this planet. So just wanted to give my last 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, please. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Ann. Glad you're on.
Hey,
Hi.
thank you. I was asked, I have a stream close to my house. And so would you recommend that I get the water from the stream, filter it, and then put it through this machine? Or would you recommend the city water, filter it and put it through the machine?
Recommend. Hard to say that. What I would say is I suggest that maybe you try to know what, I don't know whether you could get a local water test done, or if you had any local people who might know the cleanliness of the water and could give you some insight on that. Because it sounds good to me. I mean, when you're saying stream, I'm like, it sounds good. I mean, from where my intuition's telling me it's probably a good source, but I don't know. So I would do a little investigation on that end if you can. But, you know, really, you should know. If you taste it and you feel it and you go, yeah, this is good, and you feel like it's going to work for you, then would you need to filter it and structure it? Again, it just really depends. You know, if it had some levels, you know, it might have some microbacterias in it. And that's a lot of what we see with local streams here in our region. And those can be good or they can be bad. And that's a lot of what you would want to filter out. For instance, where I'm at, we have a UV system that basically the water runs through from our well that takes out any of that green bacteria. To ultraviolet light system. So there are many ways, many things that you can think of, but that's a little like that I would do some investigation with before I made a decision, to be real honest with you. I would want to make sure the source is good, that I'm not taking in anything that might harm me. But in theory, if you were to take that water, filter it, and structure it, more than likely, you would end up with a really high quality of water. That's my interpretation of the best answer to your question.
Oh, thank you so much. And it will be easy to find out where to buy these. Like you'll post this somewhere.
Yeah.
After this.
So I'm posting this on the let's see sorry, Life Force app. So I think you're on that, and so you should see this replay. And I do know you, Ann. So I think we're friends on Facebook. So you can always reach out if you need any other assistance. I'd be happy to send you the right direction. And I appreciate your question. If you have anything else.
Thank you. And the last thing, the last thing I wanted to ask is to mention the reason there may be few people on tonight is because of what was announced earlier by Kim today. If anyone has not seen it, it's important about what is happening right now currently. And billions of people are in trouble right now. It is a really important message that you may want to listen to.
Where can we find that message, Anne?
It's on Life Force. She is very upset. Kim is very rattled, and she's telling us all to pray.
Is that the recording of the Sunday call that you're referring
It's
to?
on the 27th.
Okay, that's what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was on that call, so I heard that. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, thank you, Ann. Yeah, thank you for letting us, or for restating that. Yes, we're aware. We're very tuned in and tapped in. We're just shining our light like Kim asked, and we're praying, and we're wanting to see these things pass. And looks like we've got a lot of assistance. So I'm trying to maintain a really positive outlook on that, as well as the rest of us. But hey, we really all need to be in self-care at this point and be as strong as we can be individually, because we do not know what we're going to be called to do as time moves forward. So, being prepared, being in a good physical space and mental space is primary. And there you go with water. Make sure you drink good water. Make sure you're hydrated. You'll think better. Your body will function better, and it's a great substance. I tell you what, from what I understand, galactically, we're one of the few planets that has living water. And for that reason, this planet is very desirable. So, yes, got to enjoy what we have here on the planet. So, hey, with that, you guys, I guess I will close out the call. And I want to thank you guys all for joining us here on the Life Force Showcase #2, Water, Living Water. I will be posting the replay on YouTube, and you can reach out to me on the Life Force app. I'm under D Love or David Love. You can find me there. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for your participation, and you all have a great evening.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, hon.
Thanks, guys.